So for the exterior for this year, I've focused mostly on aero mods, including the plywood flint splitter that I got from Home Depot, Odula Racing GT wing from Japan. It's actually made for an RX-8, but somehow it fits on this chassis. I kind of made a DIY sort of PCI style side skirts that have held up a lot longer than I thought they would. Other things include JDM one-piece headlights. The license plate relocator I actually took from an FRS and flipped it upside down. Somehow that managed to fit on there pretty nicely, I think. For the wheels, I'm running Koenig Lightspeeds 17x7 plus 40 with 25mm spacers all around. The tires are currently Nitto NTO1s, 235 4017 in the front and 205 4517 in the back. For the back, I'm running a J's Racing style diffuser that's been kind of modified to sort of fit the rear bumper of my car. I also have a custom made J's Racing exhaust, including the muffler and the mid pipe that I've kind of relocated to the right side. For the rear, since there's quite a bit of rust on this car, there is not much of the rear fender, rear quarter panel to kind of be seen. So I ended up cutting it off and putting on some eBay flares just to you know, cover it up a bit. Another thing I've done recently was the sunroof delete, in which I removed it. The total weight of the sunroof was about 40 pounds. So that's a lot of weight that I didn't really need on the top of the car. Other things I've done include the wiper and antenna delete, which I've just kind of plugged off and sealed off from there, since the car doesn't really have much electronics anyway. For the interior, I kind of have a minimalist setup here. There's no interior left for carpets and whatnot. I still drive the car on the street daily, so I've left some creature comforts like the heaters, the door panels, window switches, all that stuff. Just in case I get pulled over, you know, they'll look in and be like, hey, it's not 100% illegal. Other things include a K-Tune Pro Series circuit shifter. I have a Bride Zeta 3 bucket seat that I bought off a friend a couple of years ago. I have a OMP Corsica suede 350mm steering wheel with a Energy SFI approved quick release. Autometer 3 3/4 ultralight 2 tachometer for maximum downshifting at the track. I've also recently installed a couple of new gauges, the Pro Sport Evo water and oil temperature gauge. It's a lot cheaper than the Defi stuff that a lot of people usually run, and it's pretty accurate too. A couple of years ago, someone tried to break into the car and steal it, and in the process damaged my ignition switch. So I ended up just removing it completely and then fabricating a whole ignition panel, race car style, to actually start the car. If you want, you can try the switches if you want. You can just flip them up and then flip all the switches up.
That's pretty cool. And then when you turn it off, just...
Yeah. I don't really plan to do anything else to the interior. A lot of people ask why I don't have a bucket seat for the passenger, but I actually have my camera mount on the headrest there, which will not fit on the Recaro or bucket style seats. So I have to keep the stock style ones in order to use that mount. So these strut bars and C-pillar bars are one of the first mounts I ever did when I first bought the car. They've been in there and I haven't really touched them for about 8 years now. I don't know if they actually do anything, but it helps add to the aesthetic, I guess. My third brake light is from some kind of Buick, I think a Buick LaCrosse. The fire extinguisher is there just in case. I've seen a lot of times, especially at the track, where a lot of things catch on fire, and you know, if you don't have something handy around to put it out, you could get in a lot of trouble. Luckily, I haven't had to use it yet, but you never know. It's better to need it and not, or it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it at all. So for the engine, this is not the stock B18 A1 that came with the car. This is actually the third 3.5 engine swap that I've done in the past 8 years. I started first with another B18 A1, which blew up shortly after. Then I went to a B20 from the 1997 Honda CR-V, and this is the latest engine from a 1995 Honda Integra SIRG, otherwise known as the JDM GSR. It's mostly stock internal. The only thing I've done to it is maintenance. I don't really plan on doing much more to the engine. A lot of people will go turbo or start building the internals, but I don't feel that it's necessary to do that. For the transmission, I've used the stock casing from the B18 A1. It's still a cable transmission, so it's a YS1 from the 92 to 93 Integras. I've rebuilt the entire thing from the gear sets to the differential. It now has an M Factory 1.5 way metal plate LSD, all carbon synchros, and new sleeves, hubs, bearings, seals, all that stuff. I have the M Factory short ratio gear set for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th gears. Exedi Stage 1 clutch with an Exedi lightweight racing flywheel, and all the shifter bushings and the K-Tune short shifter inside. So it's as direct as you can get to as a rear-wheel drive transmission would feel. Probably the biggest upgrade to the engine I've done is change the intake manifold from the stock one to a Skunk 2 Pro Series Type R style one, which takes away the butterfly valves that always have an issue with the GSR engines. I also have a Skunk 2 Alpha 66mm throttle body because the stock GSR one would not fit on this manifold. I also have a Performance World oil catch can that I bought a couple of years ago. It helps a lot, especially for this kind of engine, and especially under hard driving, because there's a lot of blow-by that happens with these VTEC engines, and it helps kind of keep the oil consumption in check. Other things include a Samco radiator hose set, a BWR aluminum radiator, Skunk 2 Alpha V1 header. I think it should be making around, I don't know, 130, 140 wheel horsepower at this point, but I've never actually dynoed or tuned it, so it's all by feel. A couple of years ago, when I was installing this header, I ran into clearance issues with the front cross member, so I ended up buying an innovative traction bar to get more clearance in that area. It's pretty adjustable. It was kind of hard to install because it never came with instructions, but I think it was a very valuable purchase.
That wraps up our video for today, guys. Shout out to VP for letting us showcase his one-of-a-kind track car. If you want to see VP in action, I will post his link in the description below. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.